So how are you finding that technology, particularly AI and machine learning, is affecting the supply and demand management?
We use machine learning throughout AutoTrader. I've got a team of data scientists that use all the data that we put into the data lake to try and bring out the valuable insights that are relevant for our customers, but also potentially to turn that into something useful, personalized and so on for the consumer that's doing the car buying research on our platform. So we'll use that kind of machine learning to power pricing understanding. So for every one of the 500 or so thousand new and used cars on our platform, plus probably 300,000 or 400,000 others that we get access to, visibility of, we're able to give real-time daily pricing updates to our partners that are able to therefore use that information in a smart way to position their cars sort of in the sweet spot in the middle of the market. That data is obviously shown to the consumer as well. You can see on AutoTrader the dial, if you like, of how well a car is positioned, whether it's on the dial in green or on the sort of negative side in the red, or probably the sweet spot bang in the middle, which shows it's a fair price. So we'll use that. We'll use machine learning to tailor the algorithm to show what's most relevant to a consumer based on their searches, based on what we know is the most relevant product for that consumer. So it's throughout AutoTrader a key part of what we do, how we've worked for a long time. Before sort of the buzzword of AI has come along, machine learning has already been driving a lot of our growth in the past few years.
How do you recommend that businesses handle inventory management in volatile markets?
With data, the short answer. We don't obviously hold stock ourselves. We enable all of our retailers, brands, etc., to put their stock in front of our audience and create the network effect of value for each of those players, the seller and the buyer combined. So if you've got a product that's not shifting, there's usually something you can do about that, and we can give you the insights to understand what it is that you need to shift in terms of shifting the dial to shift the car or the van or the bike or the motorhome. We have all those products on the site. So that could be that the merchandising quality, your digital merchandising isn't good enough. So you need to be fine-tuning the advert metrics that we can give you around the imagery, the attention grabbers, etc., the things that are making the product either stand out or not. It could be the pricing. You're not in the market. You might be too expensive. You might be too cheap as well. That does happen. Too cheap sort of puts people off. You need to be in the sweet spot, in the middle of the market. And it could be that you need to potentially boost your visibility by potentially buying additional prominence for your product to boost it up the search rankings. Potentially because we can show you that it's got what we call a low retail rating, which would mean that it's got a low level of demand in a given area or nationally and a high level of supply, which means there's a lot of them out there, not so many people looking at them. So we can tell you from the day one you're selling that car or van, it might stick in your stock for longer than you'd like it to. So if you let that happen, or if you know it from the beginning, the key is to work really hard on those metrics, the merchandising quality, potentially the pricing lever, which needs to be looked at all the time. You can give real-time daily updates on pricing. You need to be looking at it every day, really. And then lastly, potentially the prominence sort of approach.
Just spoken about a blueprint for a supply and demand ecosystem. Could you give us a bird's eye view of what that looks like?
We have obviously a lot of demand. We've got around 10 million unique visitors coming to the platform every month, looking at a lot of cars, around 500,000 new and used cars advertised by around 14,000 or so retailers. So an awful lot of both the supply and demand metrics in there. And the key for us is to try and enable the consumer to find what they want as quickly and easily as they can. And for the seller to be able to get their product in front of the consumer and to sell as efficiently and as profitably, hopefully, as they can. So balancing the two together is all about giving data to the seller to enable them to do the best job possible, which means understanding the balance of demand and supply for a given product, which will vary by region even, so that they can decide how best to market that car, the price at which they should be selling that car. We'll give them data about how well their advert is working for them, how hard it's working, how good the digital merchandising standards they've put in place are. And we'll help them to maintain the view of that all the way through the cycle. So they won't usually sell every car straight away. They'll need to keep changing pricing, adjusting the advert and so on. Sometimes also buying prominent solutions or PPC type solutions that boost them up the rankings, that help them turn heads, if you like, in a way that they're paying for it, but they're paying less than if they were just chunking money off the price of a car. So it's a sort of a clever way of using data and tech to balance supply and demand that hopefully works for everybody.